Mind the culture.
Mind your
Culture
culture.
in
My
your
culture.
mind.
Culture in
Culture
mind.
and mind.
This is the podcast for the culture.
So, welcome everyone in the yet another Mind Culture podcast. Today we have Maren and Hans Christian from the organization LOT from the space LOT in Brotfabrik in the new cultural center in Vienna. We're gonna talk with them about the space. We're gonna talk with them about their practice, what they find interesting and inspiring about creating a new vibrant artistic community in Vienna. So let's talk about a little bit about our sponsors. We are funded by BMKS as well as Austria, as well as Viral Visions European Erasmus Plus Network project. If you like the conversation, please click the like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find us on Anchor FM, Spotify, and so on and so on. Let's get into it. So guys, we are now here. And what is here? Where are we? Why is it important?
Well, we are now in the middle of our Baustelle, we call it, our construction site at LOT. So this place is called LOT, and it's already in the making. We had a lot of art projects already in the middle of the construction site.
A lot of art projects.
A lot of art
Yes.
projects, to mention the hashtag. And because we wanted to find out how such a place we have in mind needs to be built. And in order to find this out, we wanted to find it out in a practical way, and not only on the sketchbook and to theorize everything, but also try it out, have as much different formats here as possible. And
also to have a space for different art forms, different disciplines, and they need different stuff. So how can you combine somebody who's doing photography and somebody who's doing theater, and then dance, and that's also a difference. What do you need, and how can you combine it? So how is a space built up that combines everything together?
So tell me a little bit more about the concept of the space. So I'm curious. So that I understand that there is gonna be dance inside, there's gonna be theater inside, there's gonna be photography inside. Who are you, and why did you decide to share the space together?
We are normally 6 people. This is 2 of us. And we are the 6 of us are called Echolot. So we are more the vibrant people moving around the space in a way. And we're from different disciplines. So we have dance, we have theater, we have literature, we have music, we have all of media.
new media,
So
it's called,
new media.
yeah.
So we somehow met. Or we know each other for a long time now, but in
Us
this,
too, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But in the combination, we met 1 year ago.
Mhm.
I think the first visit here together was exactly 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
Sorry, one
sorry.
second.
The window is open. It's very...
Ah, the window.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we 6 visited the space the first time exactly 1 year ago.
Yes, and
Right.
exactly. And we were all in the same situation due to the corona pandemic. And I think what brings us together was the idea of not being too frustrated in the terms of, okay, where do we go from now? There's no possibility for us to work. It is still a really shitty situation for everybody. And so our vision started when we try to build up the courage together and say, okay, let's switch things around and then start really creating a place where we and also lots of other people, as much as possible, could find the best working condition for transdisciplinary arts. So, and what's maybe also important to mention is that we 6 people, we came together for this idea. So we are not a collective existing already for 10 years or so, and now we are creating this only for us to have in German you say Elfenbeinturm, or like a elder tower. No, you say I don't know if this expression exists
Some
in
kind of
English,
castle,
but
ego castle. That's
yeah.
not what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Yeah, so but really to come together for this place and for this idea.
And for the community also.
And for the community, yes.
And also not to wait, but to like give an idea in the dialogue, because there was like started the dialogue for art, I think a lot when the pandemic started. So to not only like listen and watch like which ideas like come inside and are talked about, so just to put an idea inside or an opportunity. So this is like our opportunity, not opportunity, but our
Chance.
option or idea or possibility.
We wanted also to deliver, not only to
Yeah.
To take.
And be
Yeah.
frustrated and to complain, but also try. Okay, let's do it. So let's deliver and create something.
Yeah, there is also this like in a like contemporary arts thing in the contemporary arts market or the way of living, where you just like see the opportunities and then you apply and then you expect that you get it or you don't get it, but you always like chase the opportunities, but it's very rarely that someone actually creates something on their own. And I think this is what you mean here. It's like, okay, how can we add to the pool of opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we looked around in Vienna. We did a lot of research and we talked to a lot of people and we tried to figure out what's missing, what's really missing. Like where's the vacuum? What kind of places are not existent in Vienna?
Or what's also needed.
and what's
from
needed
different
most.
points of views.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really different points of views. What's
Yeah.
needed? What do you wish for? What do you want to have?
So what makes the place special?
Well, as we sit here, we can have a little bit of the impression that we have two layers. So this is one of the key qualities of this space, I think, because we want to focus also on a much more process-orientated working atmosphere. And you have normally you have an office somewhere in behind is hidden, and then you have a rehearsal space. But
Separated
separated
It's
from
most of the time
each other.
separated, yeah.
Yes. And I think here in this space we got the special opportunity to have a kind of office area here, but then can directly go in a second. We can jump more or less down.
Now we can jump, yes, but like don't do it.
So the idea is not to jump.
Not to jump maybe, but more to slide and to change chronology and to really try things out. So then us three, we could think of an idea, but you tend to overthink it because you're also always sitting in the office on the desk, and here you can just go down and try it out. And the other way around, of course. If you're trying out something, you can go back up, rethink the process. And of course, we are on ground level, so this makes it easy, presentable also for an audience. So the focus is on the work, of course, but we have the possibility to just open the door and let the audience come in. So this is really nice, I think. So
Yes,
Yeah.
well, it's very
Yeah.
accessible from outside, so you can
Yes.
basically just enter. So that's already like a concept of being open
yes,
to the outside world in a way.
exactly.
And they can also
because-
see what you're doing. Right?
Yeah, we have a lot of windows. They can see what we do. We have the street in the background.
Yeah.
And the building is also kind of a landmark in the 10th district. It's the former Broodfabrik, so it was the biggest bread baking factory in Europe. So it is kind of well known, and it's a big building, and when you drive down by a car, you can see it from far. So it's also important for the art scene to have places where the audience is likely to come by and to have to be seen also. You have to be visible and not only in some far out hall where the rats are in there and nobody's coming because it's too far out, and it's also quality.
But like to be in the middle, right? It's not like really the center, because this is really built up and also like very for a long time built up. And now you have also from big cities, you have like outside spots that are still in the center somehow, but they have a lack of art possibilities. So the people from the outside have to like drive to the center.
Yeah.
And so this is also like an option to combine art from us, from all over Vienna, with also like spaces that are not that don't always like have art inside.
Yes, but I feel like the whole project of this Brotfabrik turning into a huge
Yeah.
cultural institution
Yeah.
is really something special, because it's like another Museumsquartier in a way, but
Yeah.
way more alternative, of course. But
Yeah.
this is and it's great that you take part of it and you create this kind of multidisciplinary space.
Yeah.
Speaking of opening to the public, actually, I'm really curious, because I heard that you had a very interesting format with something called silent disco in your opening ceremony or pre-opening ceremony, or you describe it in your own words. And I would be curious, like, how did it go, and how did you come up onto this format, and if you could just describe the overall experience and the reactions of the people.
Yes, well, we are called LOT. So this is a German term for a nautical device describing how you can measure the depth of water. So it's a bit technical and a bit complicated, but the idea is really poetic and really fits perfect to our way of programming. So we want, in a time where everybody is sending out, like writing in capital letters on Twitter and so on, and everybody has so much to say, there are not so much people listening. So echolot is somehow one word to describe sending and receiving at the same time. So for us, therefore, it was important to start with an event where we send out, but also like put the microphones into the district, into the public space, and to get as much information from our surroundings into the LOT.
Can you tell exactly what happened? Because I wasn't there, and I would like to know.
So this is just the theoretical concept. And on the practical approach, we went out into the public space. We created some kind of live audio walk where we used this silent disco headphones to not have the usual audio walk where you press play and then you're on a rail, but more to have the opportunity to do live mixing. So we had a microphone outside and some pre-recorded material, and we mixed it live together, and we took the audience from the middle of the 10th district, from the Räumerplatz to the LOT, and we took a really special
Slalom.
yeah, some really special way, and the audience heard interviews we produced. We recorded with the people living here. They heard lots of different stuff. They came by a different installation where we had dance, where we had installation, where we had performance. So we called
Hip hop.
Hip hop. Yeah, we had
Yes.
hip hop. We had the hip hop artists from the district, which was really nice because we asked the audience in advance to write down some keywords. And they did an improv session about these words. So this was, again, the echolot effect that the people were sending and receiving. So we called it an art walk. For us, it's a genre. We try to create a format, and we will keep on do this.
Yeah.
Maybe once, maybe twice a year. We don't know yet. But yeah, to get out into public space and take the people from there into the LOT. And yeah, more or less. And how was it?
I think it was nice.
Yeah.
Like for us, I think it was a lot work. Everybody was like walking all the time and being like, okay, let's do this, let's do this. We were like fully booked. Only the Sunday morning, because we had like one session on Sunday morning, which was a bit early, I think, for Sundays.
Maybe, yeah.
So it was a different audience and a bit more difficult to get the people, which is okay. But we had a lot of people coming, like people we know, people we don't know, people like heard from us, which is also nice. Like they heard from us and then they're coming, so it's getting more closer to this space. And we tried also to have some feedback and to talk to the people afterwards, because we like arranged here, which is now also like a construction site. But 1 week ago it was a lounge and was really cozy. And there was like punch and stuff. So it was
Here
possible
we
to.
insert the videos where we can show the people how to
Yes.
cozy it was.
Yes, it
Because
was
I don't
really
believe
nice.
you. When I look at it right now,
Yeah,
I really don't believe
I think it was.
It was really cozy. Yeah, it is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's a bit absurd now to sit here.
It was the only warm light, and there was music, everyone was chilling here, like on the floor.
Are you sure it's
some
not all happening in your mind?
No. No, it was
Okay.
really nice. And I think this is also something that's also for us still again and again. So we're now like working for 1 year, and it's always like changing. So in spring, when everything was locked down, we were like walking on the walls, like getting the walls clean. And then like some weeks later, we had some performances or some rehearsals here, and it was always changing. And the space is now always like, in some days it could change a lot. And I think it's also kind of the process, always in like having the process of building it and having the process of doing art or questioning art together in one spot is also like the idea. That it's not okay, they build it up and now it's ready and now we
Yeah,
open
now it's
and now it's
finished.
perfect and now it's like
Clean and like
Yeah.
I always find myself like whenever I create something and if I go to this perfect production house or this perfect perfect studio with white walls and nothing and I'm thinking like, okay, well, what should I do here? There's no
I mean, it's also
nothing to
nice.
work with. It
It's
could
sometimes
be.
also nice, but it's also like there's more distance to yourself then.
Right.
And sometimes it's easier for the audience and also for artists to get in when it's not so ready, because then you can be part. And then like also with a lot of artists like interested to do something here, and they started to come here and to help us building it up. So it's also like they cleaned the walls because they like the idea, and they will come back later and do something here, and they also like get to know the space and get to know the idea and get to know how can I use this space and how can I rethink space. And I think this is always like the most beautiful effects.
So I feel like you're creating like communities also within the art art. We can always say art community, but actually it's
Yeah.
like a lot of artists that don't communicate with each other often. So I think it's
Or,
really
yeah,
nice that
different
you can
communities
like
sometimes,
get artists actually manually working together. I think this is always very beautiful when this happens. I think it's always been like in the history of art movements, always been the most productive way when
Yes.
the artists actually build something up together.
Yeah.
Exactly, because transdisciplinary, of course, is a big word. What is behind this word? We still need to figure this out, of course, but it's not so complicated also, because it starts exactly like you phrased it now. You need to have different disciplines or different artists in the same spot doing something and at the same time and share the same material. So it's more or less a communal idea, and then it can start and you cannot control it, but then something happens more or less, and transdisciplinary work is starting. So the vision should really integrate all the different work conditions for different artists. So me, for example, as a theater maker, I know a lot of things about dance, of course, and about fine arts and about video, but still we need all these people here helping us to build this place, to also to negotiate, like, is this roof becoming black or not? Like, this is a big thing for me as a theater maker. Again, it's vital to have a black ceiling, because you want to have a black, want to have no light at all. But maybe for other disciplines, they say, no, please don't do it black. We need to have it, and then we have to negotiate. Okay,
It's already black, so
but we negotiated it.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And okay, so you're in the process of making it for like forever already, right? It's a year, 2 years. How
1
long?
year.
1 year.
Yeah.
So, what does it take to make a space like this? Do you feel like there's been like huge obstacles you had to overcome, or was it like complicated? Was it easy? Was it a matter of an opportunity? And the other question is like, okay, and what does it give to you as people and as artists back? So, what are the positive and the less positive sides of having a space like this, besides the grand idea, which is beautiful and important and valuable, but there's also practicalities of
Yeah.
this. If I wanted to do a space like this, what would I go through? That's my question.
Yeah, I think it's like for the like the first period, I think it's like also positive and negative, because I think like to be real, it was hard, or it is, because it's a lot you have to do.
It's called LOT.
Yeah, it's
Perfect name.
funny.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work. No, it's crazy.
No, it is also to stick to it and to like stick to the idea, to build up the whole idea, to always like be in the dialogue with everybody, to yeah.
It takes a lot of commitment. So it is when you start an idea, like always, everybody is thrilled in the beginning and everybody's into it. But then always there is coming at this point, and this point is coming more times in this such a big project where the energy is going away, and then you need to stand tall and to grow also. For us, I think it was a key point also to grow. Like we started as 6 people together, which is quite many, but in these like lows and highs, and in these lows you need to have new people also coming and say, okay, wow, this idea is really great and we want to join and we want to help you. And so this is I think you need to start with a lot of energy and to go 3-4 steps in advance, and you have to try to hold this energy, and then you need also
New
inputs, and you have to take care that the energy where you start is going so long that it's long enough for new people to join also, because if it's dropping before people joining, you get lost maybe.
That's really interesting. Yeah,
I think this is one interesting part about it. And of course, you need the means. I mean, we are extremely privileged also to have the opportunity to do it, because we could afford a bank credit and to build up this place, but we are also taking an enormous risk. It's a crazy risk,
especially in COVID times.
COVID times, so
I mean, it's a chance in COVID times, but it's also a bigger risk like, at the same time.
Yeah,
and I think like because you talked about the privilege, I think it's always like it is a privilege, but I think the idea is also to share it, because like privileges like tend to stay with the people they have, and we are like, okay, it's difficult, and it's difficult for artists, it's difficult for the whole scene. We have something, and we try to share it, and that is a big risk. That is also hope and nice stuff, which is really beautiful.
And it's a lot about encounter. Like if you ask, what do you get from, how much does it take, and what do you get from, and you get encounters. And this is also where the energy comes from. So if we have little events here, and we have happy people or artists meeting and being thrilled and exchanging ideas, and also artists meeting from different disciplines or with an audience they haven't met before, it's all about these encounters, and they create new energy always in the room. And I think a second main thing, or really successful idea in this place, was the decision, like Maren already explained, not to build it until it's finished and then start inviting people or creating community, but to do it from the beginning, right from the beginning. So this is also a risk. Normally you're a bit unsure in the beginning and you want to have it a bit more ready and so on. But in this case, the best decision was to stretch the construction phase, I would say, and to have art from the beginning. Right. And not to do it in the usual chronology. Also because we want to it's again a bit theoretical, but we want to break the chronology, or to turn it around at least, because normally space defines how you work.
Exactly.
Like a chair, the microphones, the chair we are sitting on is defining how we are encountering now, But how about change the whole thing around and let the transdisciplinary work and the artist define the place and not the space defining
Yeah,
the way you work. Yeah.
it's often the thing, like for example, like I studied at Bruckner University in Linz, and at some point, like towards the end of my studies, so it didn't affect me at all, but they changed the building. So they built a new huge building with a good amount of money, and then you enter there, and the studios were just not good. There were not enough studios for dance. There were like less studios for dance that we had in the old building. Not technically not, but it was a different arrangement in which like there was more comfort to be in the old building than in the new building. So and it's all because it was made by architects who thought they know everything, how everyone should behave.
They
and-
always know everything.
Yes, but it turns out you really need, for certain things, you really need this like from ground up, this kind of work with communication with people who are actually gonna be
Yeah, exactly.
leaving this space.
And also, what we figured out, it takes time, because I'm, for example, I'm really impatient person. So in my, I would love to have it more fast, and so, but it's good that it takes time because it has to like a teig, like a bread baking process. It really takes time.
And also like people from different, like not only for the art scene, but also like we try to work also with different like also like the people building it up here. They also have to get an idea of it, and we don't know everything, so they have to have a chance to hop on the
train.
yes
Yes.
on our train and to evolve it
Yeah.
together, because we like it's a vision, it's an idea, but it has to evolve together in the time.
Yeah, I have
it
a
takes.
question to that because in order, because we like maybe together combine all these different artists that you are and all these different artists you're gonna invite, they're all gonna have their own audience. But I feel like what you did, for example, with the walk, I find it really interesting because suddenly you can engage people from the community. And I think it's really important for us, artists to actually, especially if you have a place, to have as many people from the community as you can involved. So I'm wondering, besides of course, the builders, as you mentioned, I wonder if you have some other strategies where you can, animate the locals, let's put it like this.
Yeah. Yeah, also the community building or the audience building needs time. It takes time. And so we have figured out some strategies also. It's also again about the eco load. So if people are getting the possibility to be part of or to give feedback or to get in touch, they are much more interested in the place. And so we do, as with the interviews, and also like Maren mentioned, after the shows we have a lot of exchange, and we do interviews with the people, and we try to integrate their desires and their wishes. So before we started at all inside the space, we went around asking people from the communal area, what are you looking for? What is missing? Like if you had the chance to build up a new space for culture, especially in these times during the pandemic where all the cultural life is almost dead. Like if we all could meet together again, what should it look like? What do you need? And this was really interesting. And some people said, I just need a bench and something to drink and maybe music. And the boys said, I need a PlayStation and a Red Bull. And that's fine. Oh, sorry, I mentioned Red Bull again.
And, we are in Austria, it's
and
okay.
energy drinks. Thanks. Yeah, so, and then
I will call them.
You will call them, okay.
For some extra sponsorship.
For some extra. Yeah, and then we had this soft opening, we called it, where we try also to realize some of these ideas. For example, there was a little boy, no, it was a girl, I think, and she said she needs a rope skip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, oh no, it's gone. They were the letters. But then we mounted a huge rope skip in the room, and then the girl came with her mother, and they discovered, okay, my idea was in the room, and so... This is also a way of creating lasting audience. And, yeah, for example, what else?
Yeah, if we don't get the Red Bull sponsorship, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That's gonna help us a lot with this podcast. If you like
Yes.
what you're hearing, please click those two buttons, and that doesn't cost you anything. Thank you. Let's continue.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, what else?
No, I think it's really important what you say, like, because I always feel like, almost feel like as an artist myself, like it's often a little bit, how to say, tends to be just like doing my art,
Mm.
affecting few people for a very short time,
Mm.
and then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And then like they may, if you do something really, really good, they might remember you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
for a week.
Like the question is how this encounter could be a lasting one.
Exactly, exactly. And I think you have a big opportunity here, especially with this approach of transdisciplinary approach, and also this growing, constantly growing, building, you know, setting it up all the time approach to actually, and listening to the people to actually create something long lasting. I wonder how it's gonna be if I come here in 10 years.
Mm-hmm. We have
And-
to meet again
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
a feedback round. Yeah. No, I think what helps also is that all six of us, we really like to do art in public space, or like also in the outsides, and to integrate the audience.
And to integrate the city, like to
integrate
get in
the city.
touch.
Yes. So we were reading a lot about relational art, which is a theory going back to the 60s or 70s.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and it more or less it's the idea of the piece of art should be, I don't know if I phrase it correctly, but should be a tool to enable encounter, nothing more. So it's not about like the art should be great or something, but it should be a tool. It should provide the possibilities for people to meet and to get to exchange. So this approach is really important for us, I think, to not only create in our bubbles and create for the art bubble and art for art, but rather to treat art as a possibility creator for encounter. And for example, with the hip hoppers, we already talked about. Like the audience was so thrilled to rediscover their keywords, and the art, like the improvised hip hop track, was created in that very moment where the audience was sharing the moment. So I think this is one of the biggest power of art, to be created in that moment between the audience and the creators. And it wouldn't have worked without that encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's generally improvisation is really exciting. Like it could also be a theater improvisation, right? It could be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, I like your point about art as being the facilitator of encounter, right? It almost seemed to me a little bit contradictory to what I experience a lot nowadays, which is that art has to be political, art has to have a message, art has to convince you to be a better person, or, you know, there's a lot of this politicization of art, and I feel like, you know, creating just space for people to meet is even a stronger often less, I would say, is the opposite of polarization, because I think making art political and having a strong message, it's catchy, it's beautiful, it sells well, but politically it's polarizing people, I think, even more. Whereas like having art as creator of space for people to meet, maybe people with very opposite backgrounds,
Exactly.
that's
That's the
actually,
idea,
for me, it's a stronger political force even.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just thought to put it out there.
Yeah, and nicely said. I think it's also all of our artists had the experience in the first lockdown that art or cultural life is not system relevant. They called it here in German. So it was, we could put it away easily. And this made us thinking very much.
Yeah, I
Like
think
what does
so.
it mean to be not system relevant, and what is the system relevant exercise task for art? And I think it for me, or also for the discussions we had in the team, it's somewhere where you said it, like we have a really polarized society and the fronts are getting harder and harder and harder. And I think the politics, they don't really succeed in bringing people back together. I think this is the task of culture and art. And this is our job. And this is extremely difficult and important. And but it's also a beautiful task. And I think it's really political also, yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with value.
Mm-hmm.
Because value of the people and value of the art itself or the artists.
So you give
I
more
think,
value
yeah.
to the people.
Because I was not thinking,
Then-
because
then you
like
start
said, like
giving more-
political, and I think it's really very much about value. Like the point where we like started to decide, okay, we do it, is about value for us, for the audience, for the community, and for such a space, which is like great. It's like old, it has history. Like we try to leave some of the remaining artifacts. I think this is about value, and then about value, how we want to create art here, like to combine, to go out, to talk to the people, to let happen art outside with the people, to value, like you give me words and I put them into art, is also value. So I think it's like also like in these times it's very much about value, and then if you value something and the people, you can start talk. And you can start evolving stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you could also argue that the digitalization of everything is kind of devaluing things, because, okay, it gets very easy to produce so-called high-quality content, and it's very easy to share it with people, but are you actually sharing it with people? Or is it actually high value? Because if it's something so easy to produce and so easy to share, are you actually sharing it or not?
I don't know if it's always easy. I think like it's also difficult.
No, but easy in a way of like if you
Maybe
really wanted it, you can keep on publishing on Instagram nice pictures. Like this doesn't take much. But is it really deep? That's what I mean. Like,
or is it in counting? Is there somebody listening to the pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because his simple swipe is not really getting in touch with the message, even if you had a message there, like someone's just gonna swipe over it and then it's done and it's over it. You're never gonna see it again. So it's also like, does it really have value then? And I think it's interesting in the context of art that you actually can facilitate more of this.
Yeah. But I would say, for example, this is also for value. Because it's like, it's part of our life so much, like all the internet stuff, digital stuff, it's part, and it's not like, I think it's not good to say, okay, it's bad, so like don't get in touch with it because it's like different, it's not so high value for me or something. I think it's not about that, because it's different, and we have to like, it's like in our times, in our lives, we have to find ways and being like fluid and talking about stuff. And it's not like stick to something old or stick to something new and forget about everything else. It's about like, okay, how can we get in a dialogue? How can we work on it?
Okay.
So it's like, yeah.
So how? How do you do that? Like, how did you adapt to the new reality, that a post-pandemic or inside pandemic reality? Like, so you as an artist creating artistic things, normal things, analog things. How did you incorporate this new element in your own life, in your own practice, but also maybe as a LOT, as an Echo LOT?
Well, I think the building up this place is the main reaction of this question, but it's an easy answer. But the second part is more interesting or more difficult to answer. How should we incorporate all these new realities? And we had a possible answer in a beautiful exhibition already done here, which was called This Settlement, working with VR artists and other new media and video artists. And what they did was really beautiful, because they did a 3D model of the LOT, of the whole space, and then you could take this VR glasses on and you could move around in the space, and then the whole space was falling apart or falling on your head or
basically
really
like now.
beautiful.
like now.
Yeah, oh my god.
But in an
It's
artistic way.
changing.
No,
And it was really beautiful.
Uh-huh.
It was really. I think I did something like that for the first time, like with this like, and I was really like talking all the time and getting on the nerves of all the people inside the exhibition, because it's really intense and it's really interesting how it changes your view then in an analog way.
Yeah,
I think that's why it's also like interesting, and it is like it's an addition. It's not like another option, and now it's this one and not this one anymore. But it's like an addition, and we could take the chance also to add it. And it's not about like deciding for one. I think it's like deciding for the open dialogue, and this is like getting the addition is sometimes good.
And now we have the LOT in two ways. We have it in an analog way, and we also have it in the digital way. So this will go on now, and we don't know how exactly yet, but we have the possibility to have the LOT completely digital. So like we could also do digital expositions or exhibitions, sorry, in the digital LOT, and this would make it much more accessible for people around the world
who cannot come.
who cannot come, exactly.
Yeah.
So this was one of the enlightenments, I think, during this pandemic, when the big institutions realized, oh wow, now we can have audience from around the world, and they don't have to be dressed up, beautiful, and know so much about how to behave in this space, like in the elitary spaces. And so this is a possibility. Yeah, we try to have integrated from the beginning. Also creating a community, of course, it works really well with Instagram, of course. Like before we started here, we started already in the digital realm to reach out to people and to communicate that we are starting this project, and then it can spread really fast. And yeah.
And I think it's also like a nice part because we then also like it started to connect between different cities, different languages, different countries. So it's also interesting then you get in touch with someone like who's doing a space in Zurich or in Berlin, and you started to talk. And you said, aha, okay, how was it for you? How are you doing now? Or how can we share? How can we like visit each other and then like get in a collaboration or something? And that's also very beautiful because then you like widen up the perspective also. And not only for the artist and for the city, but also like, because we are here and we are people and we are thinking and we are like exchanging. This is like making it bigger. But at the same time, in another city, in another country, they're at another point, and it's also like interesting to combine this together. So it's
also we are really
come from all over the world.
yeah, we try to do it really international. Also, we are really young, so we will make a lot of mistakes, and we try to ask people who have done similar things in different places in different cities. What were your biggest mistakes? What can you teach us? Can you come by? What would you recommend? And so on.
So what are the pitfalls to avoid from what you already know? Like, let's say you did had those conversations, but what came out of them? Because I'm curious. What potentially, if you did something wrong, what would it be? What are the mistakes?
I think one big risk is to become too exclusive. You know, to do it too fast or too professional in the sense of you creating a threshold, and people say, "Wow, okay, say they are super professional. I cannot join," or so. So you have to keep it open and under construction.
Yeah.
That was a vital point.
And that was also the point where we started more to share the process.
Yes.
To share what we are doing wrong or what's not already done. To like okay, hey, help us, because we are like in the middle of like construction site. So it's like it's easy to help and it's easy to be part, and it's not like that we know something. It's just an idea and we like throw it in the middle and everybody can join it. So
also a really important point was that you have, if you start a project like this, you not only have to create the spatial organization and so on, but also the like how we work together, the whole management somehow, you know, and then you like we set ourselves the goal quite early from the beginning. We don't want to become an institution, but as soon as you start working together, you are already becoming an institution if you want or not.
Automatically, yeah, and then you have to
Automatically.
yeah.
So this is a movement. We call it in German Verfestigen. So it's everything is becoming stronger and decided and less flexible. This movement is already there, always.
The tendency, yeah.
The tendency.
Yeah.
You can of course ignore it.
Like
Or
to say it another way, it's hard to have something being fluid all the time
yes.
because it's a lot of work to move. So like
And you get crazy, of course, because you want to have things worked and you want to have Abläufe like regular schedules and
Yeah.
how are we going to meet and where's the Google Drive, how is it organized, like all this important bullshit. And so this is one movement automatically, or tendency. I like the word tendency. And in order to stay fluid and to stay flexible, you have to create a second tendency going the other way, so that you have two streams. One is everything is getting more perfect and organized and harder. I don't know, hard is not the right word. And the other movement is making deconstruction, make it more flexible. So this is again the theory, and we have to figure out practical in a way how are we going to ensure that we stay flexible and we're not because I think there are so many interesting groups like us who started really accessible or low threshold, like, and then they became a Burgtheater. This is the biggest comparison you can do in Vienna now, but you know what I mean, you know? And,
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big danger, like institutionalization. Yes.
It's a fucked up word. Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
institutionalization is a lot.
Yeah, institutionalize. Oh, no. Today is not my day for saying this word. This word should not
It's
be
okay.
said. Okay. Maybe another question. You're an artist. And my question is like, what inspires you at the moment? What fulfills you at the moment? What are your personal investigations at the moment that you could share with us? Some, I don't know, inspiring. I don't know, something. Can be
Like
a
in
serious.
general,
Can
or-
again anything.
Aha.
Well, in the last 2 years now, I'm researching a lot about memory. This is my fascination, my personal fascination, and also with Maren together in the last pieces we have done, it was a lot about memory and the mind, how it forgets, how it remembers, and this is what is really thrilling for me. How a memory put into bytes or bits and pieces in the brain. So scientists say that one memory is an engram, so it is one measurement of a memory. And are we as persons what we remember? And if we start to forget, are we losing our identity? So this is one of the main questions I'm researching currently, but it's an ongoing process. And I'm really thrilled to continue this process in LOT.
So maybe just to continue a little bit on this, because I was always also very fascinated with the brain myself. Have you found something that was really striking to you with the way how brain works, how our mind works, or maybe with the brain, with the way it changed actually over time, over the last 10 years or so? Did it, because I feel like, just tell me something that that is interesting for you in this matter.
Maybe on the research level, at the moment I'm investigating the point that remembering and forgetting is somehow the same thing, like the same brain function. And in the discourse in society, we always put it as opposites, like forgetting is bad. Sometimes it helps, and remembering is important. And you should not suppress or forget bad events. But actually, it's a key function that we need to survive. And I think it's really interesting that it's two sides of the same activity. So at the moment, I'm at that point. And I think as a really practical approach, as a theater maker, the point where I'm working right now on is like, how can you remember on stage as an actor or as an actress, like not to do it in your brain before, and then if you're finished, you present it. This is more narration, like, but directly. Like, how can you? And I'm trying to develop a form, an acting form, you could say, to directly remember on stage. So this for me is really exciting. Yeah.
How about?
I was thinking, because, we worked like, also like memory is like something we stick to for a long time now. Memory, it's nice, always. Okay, I have to like listening and then organizing my ideas. Yeah, it's a lot.
No, but has there
Now
been,
I'm remembering live here.
has there been something like lately that you just all seen, oh, that's a great piece of novel, or that's a great piece of a film, or that's a great piece of architecture? I don't know.
That also like let me start at some point, because I was like in the last year or something, I read and listened and watched a lot about getting older, and about like in many ways it's also like the brain getting older, it's the body getting older, and there is so much distance to loss and to the old body. And I was I'm trying to talk about this in different pieces of like writing or like performances, to get a dialogue about it, because I find it very beautiful, and I love this getting older, and I miss it a bit in the society, or I miss the dialogue more. And
About the beauty of getting old, or about the poetic side of getting old?
yeah, not only like putting it like, okay, it's beautiful, it's nice, but that it's part, because there's so much to prevent getting older. But I think like the most beautiful people I meet are very old people who are like very young inside and are very like open with this process of the body, and I think it's really strong. And this is not so much popular or seen so much. So this is something I'm really investigating. Also that I'm young, but I think it's like really could be like a very strong part of the society. This is like what I was
definitely
thinking
with the
about, because
society is getting older, like there's definitely more and more of this on the display.
Yeah.
Because most of people are becoming the old people, you know. It's
yeah.
I think.
And also, like, what does it mean, like, for the art scene? Like, I was in Berlin for some time now, and I was part of a discussion organized by the Sophienseele, and we're like talking about to get older in the scene. Like, it was more performance people. But it was very interesting because I think I was like the youngest person. And then just before, I asked myself, okay, yeah, I'm very young. Why I'm like in this discussion? Because like I cannot so much talk about getting old in the scene, because I'm like
just entering
and saying hi.
Yeah, but it should be allowed.
Yeah, it was very tense. I think it's like a topic in like inside the scene for like working when you are older, but also I think this is also like a spot, because in the society it's not so like nobody likes it. Like most of the people,
it's a bit suppressed also.
Yeah,
the topic.
there's so much pain. There's so much.
Maybe has to do also with the social media and how everyone has to be beautiful now, like how everyone has to be perfect, and somehow being older is becoming less perfect.
Less likes.
Less likes, especially like between a certain age. But maybe when you're like 70 plus or something like this, then you again.
Then it's cool again.
Then
maybe.
it's cool again. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's in the middle? Like, it's a bit lost.
Yeah.
Great. If you had to give an advice to young people or young makers, or people who are on a similar path than you, or just any people, what would it be?
Maybe I can pass on an advice I got. It's not my advice, but I can maybe pass it on, because it has to do a lot with the LOT. There was a famous stage designer called Stéphane Lemay, and he once told me when I was frustrated, like where to start theater, and it's so difficult to get in and to get a start, and nobody's giving you the possibility to start. And he said, well, what are you talking about? Take a space, put theater inside the space, then you have theater.
So it could be your own room or your own bathroom.
Exactly,
Yes. I would say, which is also like much about this, about us, like our group, and also about the room and the community. I would recommend to always take a risk, because I think only when you start to talk about things, when you start to do it, even if it's like not already finished and not already everything is thought like very, very perfect, thought through, it's better to get started. It's the most important and most difficult point to start something. And it's really important to get the starting point, like very, very active. And then always like to stick to your faults, because it's beautiful and it makes it like honest and very strong. So faults are, I love it. So I would like
Embrace them.
really make it more in the spotlight.
I feel that it's a feature of theater to think about the failure and the fault in a little bit. I think I have to spend a little bit more time with you theater people.
Yes.
I like it myself, but
Yes.
but it is something that, because every actor has to be kind of special and unique, and how do you
Yeah.
get special and unique? Like perfection is only one,
Yeah.
but the faults are many, so you can feel, I think.
Yeah. And I
that's
think also like
what
breaks and
makes us
faults
unique.
like make it possible to talk, because it's a break and then you can talk, then you can like you can interact, you can say, okay, no, I don't understand, or yeah, I know this one. So it's also like a possibility to
Cool.
And maybe
encounter.
it's sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
And maybe it's more the faults that makes you unique than the perfection.
Yeah, that's what I would think also,
Yeah.
because
Mm.
yeah, it's just one perfect piece of soap.
Mm.
What do you do with it? It's
It's
totally replaceable.
Too slimy.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have
Goes
like
out.
we can make some. We have like a format next year, which is like more focusing on this process and faults and talking about the faults and like opening up.
Yeah, personally, I always very attracted to catastrophe, to the idea of
Yes.
decay, deconstruction, and demolition, and all sort of, like, I find the most beautiful thing when things, slow motion recording, I love it. Slow motion of things breaking down, or if they break down slowly, then if you fast forward it, it's also very beautiful. Like the decay, the sped up decay, where you can really observe. It's something most beautiful, or like explosion and a very super slow motion. It's so magnificent, and I am like kind of trying to put it in my artistic work also a little bit, because it's very ecstatic
Yeah.
when things break down.
It's an interesting moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Great.
thrilling.
Yeah. Cool. So on that note, on that wonderful note of construction and deconstruction,
Yes.
thank you so much for being here for this conversation. I hope, can you tell me a little bit when the opening is, just for the people to know?
Like the plan is.
The plan is February.
Wow.
Same
Yes.
time. The plan is February, and
Yeah.
we have to see what the politics and the pandemic, the health situation is doing. But the first construction phase will be ended in January, end of January. And in February we want to do LOT 2. So all the impressions we got outside we will take in here,
Yeah.
and it will be the big opening. Come by.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, join us on Instagram, das.lot,
Yes.
Definitely.
Das.lot.
or get our newsletter, and then you'll be the first one to know.
Yeah. And also like thank you for coming here.
And thank you
And
for having
talking
us. Yeah,
It
thanks.
is my very big pleasure. So if you like what you just heard, please don't forget to click the like and subscribe. You can follow us on Mind Culture Pod on Instagram, as well as on Facebook, as well as on Twitter that we're trying to set up slowly. But yeah, if you want to write to us, please write to us on Instagram at Mind Culture Pod. Okay, see you in the next one.
Bye bye.
Bye.